There is something mysterious and profound in the way the human body reacts to certain energies, especially when it comes to true love. Even before the mind understands or the heart recognizes it, the body already knows. A shiver that can't be explained, a vibrating silence, a feeling of recognition in the midst of the unknown. Carl Jung believed that what we call destiny is often the unconscious moving toward wholeness. And perhaps true love is one of those manifestations, an energy that precedes arrival, first announced by the body, which senses, anticipates, and vibrates with the expectation of something greater. In this video, we're going to explore why the body feels before it knows, and how this connects with the deepest principles of analytical psychology. Write in the comments, "My body recognizes true love before it arrives." Carl Jung offers us a precious key to understand why the body can feel the energy of true love even before the experience happens. In his theory of the psyche, Jung described the unconscious as a living vastness, where archetypal images and collective memories are constantly in motion, seeking integration with consciousness. Within this process, the body acts as a sensitive instrument, a receiver of unconscious manifestations that have not yet been translated into rational thought. When Jung speaks of projection, he shows how we often cast onto others what actually lives within us. But when it comes to true love, the kind that promotes individuation, the process reverses. The body doesn't project, it recognizes. There is something in the other that resonates with our essence, with parts of ourselves that may not yet be fully integrated, but that vibrate with familiarity. This vibration is felt physically, as if the body were the first to know that the soul is about to meet its counterpart. The shadow also plays a crucial role in this process. The kind of love that transforms is the one that accepts and embraces what was once rejected or repressed. When someone who carries aspects of our shadow approaches us with love, the body feels both the tension and fascination of that possibility of integration. The inner masculine and feminine, anima and animus, also act as guides in this journey, shaping how we connect with others and how we anticipate these connections. Therefore, when the body reacts intensely before a meaningful romantic encounter, it may be signaling that something essential is about to emerge, something far beyond attraction, the possibility of becoming whole. Long before consciousness forms thoughts, makes decisions, or names feelings, the body has already reacted. This reality, often ignored in Western culture, is central to Jung's understanding of the psyche. Carl Jung taught that the unconscious not only stores repressed or forgotten contents, but is also creative, alive, and possesses its own intelligence. This intelligence expresses itself through symbols, images, and sensations that arise spontaneously, especially within the body. The body is the portal through which the unconscious communicates directly and rawly, long before any rational elaboration. When something meaningful is about to manifest in the psychic life, the body sends signals. Sometimes it's an inexplicable tingling, a shiver during an ordinary encounter, a sudden racing heartbeat, a chill in the stomach, or a strange feeling of familiarity in front of someone unknown. These signals are somatic responses to the energetic field, forming between two unconscious minds. The body feels before the mind understands, because it is directly connected to the deepest layer of being. This happens because the body mirrors inner tensions and at the same time senses what is approaching the psychic center. When Jung spoke about the self, the archetype of totality, he indicated that this organizing core of the psyche acts like a magnet, pulling toward consciousness everything necessary for the individuation process. True love, in this context, is not merely a feeling, but an archetypal experience representing the union of opposites within oneself. The body perceives the approach of this experience long before the ego has any control or understanding over it. There is also an ancestral factor that contributes to this. The body's memory carries impressions that go beyond individual experience. Jung proposed the collective unconscious as a shared field of symbols and universal human experiences. This means the body carries records that are not only personal, but belong to humanity as a whole. So when true love approaches, something that touches the archetypal layers of the soul, the body responds as if it had rediscovered something ancient, a recognition that transcends linear time. In a world where we are taught to trust only logical reasoning, we have lost the ability to listen to the body. But the body is wise. It doesn't negotiate, lie, or calculate. It simply feels. And that feeling often leads us to make decisions that may seem irrational, but in truth are deeply aligned with our inner truth. Ignoring these signals is like ignoring a compass in the middle of a storm. The body, in this sense, is the true map of the emotional treasure we search for outside, but can only find when recognized within. That's why, so often, someone enters our life and there's an immediate, visceral response. The body warms, opens, and moves with freedom. It's not merely physical attraction or instinctive impulse, it's a symbolic reaction to the reunion with an essential aspect of the soul. The other becomes the mirror of something hidden, waiting to emerge, and the body celebrates this with its silent yet unmistakable language. To understand the body as a portal of the unconscious is therefore essential to recognize the signs of true love. Body language, the spontaneous gestures, involuntary touches, relaxed or tense postures, all speak of the psyche. And when love approaches, this language becomes more alive, more intense, more revealing. Jung invites us to trust these signals, to listen to them with attention and reverence, for they guide us toward what is real, whole, and truly ours. The body, after all, is the temple where the soul sings what the mind has not yet learned to hear. There are encounters that touch us so deeply that we can never be the same afterward. It's not just about liking, desiring, or admiring someone. What's at play is a transformative energy, a vibration that awakens something dormant within us. Jung understood this experience as a call from the soul, a reunion with what has always been there, but remained hidden beneath layers of persona, ego, and social masks. In this sense, true love is not something that comes from outside, but something that awakens what already lives within. The encounter with this energy is always filled with tension and mystery. It's not a calm or predictable kind of love, but a force that destabilizes, confronts, and demands surrender. When someone enters our life with that kind of presence, they don't just bring affection or companionship. They carry an archetypal mirror, reflecting deep aspects of our psyche that need to be seen, embraced, and integrated. And that's why the experience of true love is often accompanied by intense physical sensations. The body vibrates with the energy of the soul. The energy of true love is, above all, symbolic. It's not limited to the romantic aspect, but operates as an agent of psychic transformation. For Jung, a symbol is what unites opposites, what reconciles inner polarities. And true love is one of those symbolic experiences. It pushes us toward the center, toward the self. It awakens in us the desire to become whole. That's why the encounter with this love often comes with a strange feeling of familiarity, as if we had known that person long before we actually met them. It's the soul's reunion, projected onto the other, but yearning to be recognized within ourselves. And this reunion is never gentle. It demands that we confront our fears, wounds, and idealizations. The energy of true love is dense because it carries not only what is beautiful, but also what has been forgotten or denied. This kind of love places us face to face with our deepest vulnerabilities, and within that confrontation lies its healing power. The body feels this tension. The heartbeat changes, sleep patterns shift, breathing deepens. It's as if the psychic energy is being redistributed and reorganized through the presence of the other, who silently exposes us without a word. In Jungian terms, true love can be seen as the expression of the union between the masculine and feminine principles within us, the animus and the anima. When we meet someone who symbolically carries the complementary energy to ours, we feel an attraction that goes beyond physical desire. It's as if that person activates an inner dance between our polarities, revealing aspects that must emerge for us to become whole. And once again, the body becomes the stage where that dance unfolds. Tremors, shivers, heat waves, and even altered states of consciousness are common in these encounters. It's the unconscious responding to the self's call through the experience of love. But it's important to understand that this energy doesn't belong to the other. It's awakened by them but comes from within us. The reunion with the soul that true love provides is, above all, a journey back inward. The other is the trigger, the mirror, the symbol. The true transformation happens when we realize that what we feel for someone is in fact a revelation about who we are. In that sense, love stops being an external pursuit and becomes a path of self-knowledge and transcendence. That's why Jung said that the meeting of two personalities is like the contact between two chemical substances. If there's any reaction, both are transformed. True love transforms because it reconnects us with what is most essential, the soul, which longs to express, expand, and liberate itself. And when that happens, the body knows. It pulses, vibrates, and resonates with a truth the mind is still learning to name. In that space between feeling and understanding, true love manifests as a light guiding the way back home, not a house of walls and ceilings, but an inner home where the soul rests and the body finally recognizes. When true love appears, it not only awakens deep emotions but also triggers a profound process of psychic transformation that Carl Jung called individuation. This process, the path toward integrating the self, is not theoretical or abstract. It happens in the body, in the soul, in dreams, in inexplicable impulses, and in the physical sensations that overtake us. Love in its most authentic form becomes the catalyst of this journey, making every fiber of our being participate in the construction of a new state of consciousness. Individuation is the process through which we become who we truly are, integrating both the conscious and unconscious aspects of the psyche. It's not about fixing or improving ourselves, but about embracing and unifying inner polarities, light and shadow, anima and animus, reason and emotion. When we encounter true love, the unconscious sees in that meeting an opportunity to manifest more directly. As a result, the body begins to respond. There's a different energy that settles in, a heightened perception of the world around us, a sensitivity that once felt dormant. These physical signs are the first evidence that something deeper is moving within. The heart beats differently, as if recognizing the other even before any emotional involvement. The skin tingles for no apparent reason. The gaze lingers longer, and there's an expanded sense of presence in the here and now. Many describe a feeling of suspended time, as if the encounter opens a crack in the ordinary world, revealing a more sacred dimension of existence. These altered states of perception are reflections of the unconscious, attempting to communicate that this encounter holds symbolic meaning, that something essential is being touched. Beyond physical reactions, the unconscious also manifests through images and symbols. Dreams intensify, and powerful archetypes appear during sleep or waking reverie. People report repeatedly dreaming of the other, images of union, crossings, death, and rebirth, classic symbols of individuation. These dreams aren't random. They're expressions of the psychic movement initiated by the encounter with love. It's as if the unconscious seizes the emotional opening to surface forcefully, bringing forth what must be integrated for growth. True love, in this sense, is not comfortable. It brings the repressed to light. Old fears return, insecurities rise, and inner conflicts become clearer. Yet it is this very intensity that allows individuation to progress. By facing these emotions, we are forced to look at ourselves with greater honesty. The body, once again, participates in this process. Muscle tension, inexplicable pain, changes in appetite or sleep, all possible symptoms of the psychic reorganization taking place. The body somatizes what the psyche attempts to process, and if understood properly, these signs become compasses along the path of transformation. Jung said there is no awakening of consciousness without pain, and in true love, this pain often appears as premature longing, fear of loss, or the desire for fusion. These are expressions of the soul knowing this encounter will change it, make it broader, more alive. The relationship becomes a continuous mirror, showing not only what is beautiful, but also what still needs healing. Love then works as a laboratory, where the soul reveals itself and the body reacts with equal intensity. Another crucial aspect is that, in this process, we often feel called to change other parts of our lives. Relationships that no longer make sense dissolve, work becomes dissatisfying, old patterns grow uncomfortable. There's a hunger for authenticity. This happens because the energy released by true love activates the self's impulse to reorganize life around a new inner truth. It's a call to live with greater wholeness, awareness, and presence. The body vibrates differently in response to this new possibility, as if answering to something greater than the ego. In the end, the physical and psychic signs of true love are really signs of an inner birth. Something within us is trying to emerge, and the one we love deeply becomes the channel through which this energy manifests. It isn't they who cause the transformation, but through them that it becomes possible. The body, loyal companion of the soul, guides us through its sensations so we can move through the process consciously. Individuation, when touched by true love, ceases to be a theory and becomes flesh, bone, sweat, tears, and desire. It's the body once again holding the soul as it rebuilds itself. In every deep encounter between two people lies a rare and powerful opportunity to see parts of ourselves that we would never have the courage to face alone. It's in that intimate space where true love blooms that the shadow, everything that was repressed, denied, or excluded from awareness, begins to rise with force. Carl Jung affirmed that integrating the shadow is essential for individuation, and few contexts are as fertile for that as an authentic relationship. Love, contrary to common belief, is not made only of light. It also introduces us to the darkness we carry. The shadow is not necessarily bad. It represents what's unconscious, what lies outside the image we've built of ourselves. Often it holds dormant talents, repressed desires, unprocessed emotions, and aspects of our identity we've rejected out of fear or shame. In a genuine relationship where vulnerability and presence are welcome, the other inevitably touches those parts, sometimes with words, sometimes with silence. And when that happens, the body feels it first. Sudden irritation, physical discomfort, inexplicable tension, all signs that the shadow has been activated. These reactions don't mean something is wrong in the relationship. On the contrary, they show it's working as it should, as a mirror. True love isn't meant to keep us in comfort zones, but to lead us into expansion. When the other awakens our shadow, we have the chance to recognize what we've avoided for so long. But revelation only becomes healing when there is awareness. And that's where the journey demands courage, honesty, and presence. Healing doesn't happen only through affection or acceptance from the other, but through our willingness to embrace what we feel in their presence. The body gives the signals. The throat tightens when we can't express ourselves. The chest closes when we're afraid to be seen. The stomach contracts when we resist an uncomfortable truth. These physical symptoms are manifestations of an internal conflict being touched. If we listen carefully, they become gateways to self-awareness. In this sense, love doesn't heal by itself. It heals when it puts us in direct contact with our humanity. In authentic relationships, where there is room for truth, we can explore these shadows safely. The other, by accepting us even in our flaws, activates the principle of compassion. This kind of acceptance isn't passive, it's profoundly active. It's a presence that says, I see your difficult parts, and still, I stay. And it's precisely that presence that allows us to do the same for ourselves. When the other becomes a compassionate mirror, we learn to look at our pain with less judgment and more empathy. But relationships don't always last. Sometimes true love fulfills its purpose simply by revealing what needed to be seen, and then it moves on. Even in those cases, healing can occur. The pain of separation, however intense, carries a symbolic rupture with old patterns. The body feels it as a death, but also as a rebirth. New forces reorganize within us as if the soul, once touched by truth, could no longer live in the same places as before. Jung believed that wholeness is not an ideal state, but an ongoing process, and the shadow, once integrated, stops being an enemy and becomes an ally. By recognizing it, we gain freedom of choice. We no longer react unconsciously, but respond with awareness. And love, in its truest form, often leads us to that point, because the other sees what we cannot see, touches what we cannot touch, and awakens what needs to be revived. It's as if, through them, parts of us come back to life. When that happens, the body changes. Breathing becomes freer, the gaze deepens, the posture straightens, movement becomes more natural, somatization gives way to expression. And little by little we become more whole, not because we've gotten rid of pain, but because we've learned to inhabit it with dignity. Thus, integrating the shadow through true love isn't a promise of eternal happiness, but the possibility of real healing. A healing that doesn't come from outside, but is activated through an encounter where the other doesn't save us, but reveals us, and where finally the body, the soul, and the unconscious walk together toward wholeness. When the body feels before the mind understands, something greater is moving. The energy of true love doesn't arrive quietly. It reverberates through the heart, pulses through the skin, transforms the gaze, and restructures the inner world. What seems like a simple physical reaction is in truth a profound symbolic language, the unconscious announcing a crossing. Carl Jung showed us that love, when genuine, is one of the most powerful paths to individuation, not because it is easy, but because it is true. By recognizing the body's signals, embracing the shadow, opening space for the reunion with the soul, and allowing ourselves to be fully transformed, we enter a process of healing that goes beyond the personal plane. Every conscious gesture along this path reverberates throughout our entire being, bringing meaning, wholeness, and freedom. The love the body recognizes before the mind is perhaps the truest of all, because it comes from a place where we are still whole. If this journey resonated with you, subscribe to the channel and dive even deeper by watching the video on screen now. Your transformation begins the moment you decide to listen to what your body already knows.